All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Friday with the Founders. I'm E.R. Wolf. I'm joined with my partner, Guy Toole, here at Elify. We are the co-founders, and we're excited to have you on this call. We're going to admit people into the call right now. And if you're joining us on the live stream and you want to join the conversation, make sure to check out the Zoom links for our future Friday with the Founders and other calls so that you can collaborate with us, either chat with us in the chat section, come forward, raise your hand, and add to the dialogue, to the conversation. This is what Elify is all about. And Guy, that's really where we want to kick everything off with. What is Elify? What is Elify? And, when Guy and I founded Elify, it was really about scaling down and simplifying technology and making it accessible to the everyday person to leverage technology to be more successful in their current venture. And I think that's really important here, that you understand that we are a technology company, but Guy, we're a little bit more than a technology company, right? It takes a little bit more than just having a tool to be successful. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people miss out on. They think that I'm just going to buy a tool and it's going to take me to where I want to go. And the reality is, a car is a tool, but if you buy a car and you don't know how to drive it, it's not going to take you very far, right? So in addition to being a technology company, Elify is also a community. And to each and every one of you that are on this call right now, thank you for being a part of this community, because this allows us to collaborate and interact with each other and support each other, not just in the use of Elify's technology and the tools and shuffle and tap, but also with our skills, our mindset, all of these things that play a contributing factor in taking us from, again, where we are to where we want to get to. In addition, we're a movement. We're a tribe of people who are working together, and we're sharing everything out to the world. And in doing so, we're participating as a community. And we'll talk about this later. We're all taking a stake and a share in that participation. So super excited to have everybody on. We're going to get into the meat of this. Guy, I'm going to throw it over to you here in just a second. But there's a lot of stuff to cover. We can cover the tools. We can cover, how you guys are benefiting from some of these tools. I've heard some amazing testimonials from people all throughout this week who have put Elify technology into action, or even some of the skills that we've been talking about throughout the last year, and seeing great success with that. And then, later on, we'll talk about the affiliate program as well. So, Guy, let's get this kicked off.
Absolutely. And to the point of Elify, what we love about it so much is that we get to have fun. That's what we're doing on a daily basis. We can sit down and talk with people about what the tools are, but when people are out there networking and doing the elements that are within this application, they're also understanding that they're having fun. They're able to give people an experience, make their eyes light up. When I tap a card to someone's phone, and it's almost magic that link shows up on their card, or a QR from a Zoom that I get notifications that people are viewing while we're having a conversation. That is fun to me in business. So, I wrote a couple acronyms down. What is fun? It's free, unstressed network. That's what we're doing. It's a free, unstressed network. We're here to do that. We're here to express that to everyone else, that you can invite other people into this free, unstressed network. But we also know we have to work. Acronym for work. Work offers rewards to keep, right? When you put the work in, the rewards that you get to keep. So putting a fun little spin on that word work, because a lot of people don't like that word. Or also worker ownership, readiness, and knowledge.
Yeah. Right?
Worker ownership, readiness, and knowledge. When I work, I have ownership of what I'm doing. I'm ready. I'm amped. I'm ready to go. And I have the knowledge of what I am talking about. So with that, and shifting over to what the topic has been throughout the week, and didn't get an opportunity because yesterday I was having a 30-minute phone call that turned into a 2-hour phone call because it was fun. And didn't get to make the Thursday mastermind conversation. I just wanted to express some of the stuff we had talked about on Monday. And I wrote out or had given you a list of 9 different limiting beliefs that a lot of people, I think, sort of fall into at least one of those. That's why there's 9 of them, because I think the masses fall into 1, 2, or maybe all of them. But the ones I sort of want to start off with, I listed 9. I think I'm only going to talk about 6 of them here today. But the first one is, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, right? We mentioned that on Monday. So many people struggle with this belief that they're not good enough. How do we decide we're not good enough? It happens because comparisons. We compare ourselves to others. Sometimes society is the ones doing the comparisons. But, if we constantly grew up with complaints or criticisms, that's something that becomes ingrained. Mm-hmm. If you continue to repeat those thoughts over and over again, that's what becomes your belief. Make no mistake, we were all born in God's perfect vision. Like, you were born for a purpose, for a reason. Like, you deserve to be here. You deserve to do what you want to do. There's no mistake that everyone should be able to see the goodness in you. And no one should be able to tell you any different. So we need to stop comparing our talents to other people's talents. We're each unique. If we all look the same, there would be no uniqueness about us. If we all did the same thing, there would be no uniqueness about us. Rather, being unique allows us to understand that we shouldn't compare ourselves to others. When we compare ourselves to others, we're actually comparing our weaknesses to their strengths. Really think about that. Like, there's times ER and I are talking about other businesses and we're comparing our weaknesses to their strengths, but their weaknesses are our strengths. And flipping it the other way and saying, you might not have the same strengths as another person or another business, but they don't have the strengths that you have. So rather, focusing on our strengths instead of our weaknesses is what's going to make us excel. So that's sort of what I have with, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. I do want to open this up between each one of these if anyone has anything to add. Otherwise, we'll just continue through into our next limiting belief, which is, it's possible for them, not for me. So if anyone has anything to add to this, would love to hear your thoughts. If anyone feels that they do this themselves, I mean, it is empowering to be able to put it out there and say, this is my weakness because I am comparing my weakness to someone else's strength.
I agree. Anyone? And while we're waiting for people, Guy, I just want to add, if you're sitting there saying, I'm not worthy, this is your opportunity. We talked about it on the roundtable yesterday, to turn around and empower yourself and start to take on the I am worthy. When you look in the mirror in the morning, you need to say to yourself, I am worthy today. You need to get that into part of your daily process so that you can start to make that shift from that negative belief. And Guy, I think on all of these, there is an action item that we can each take if you're encountering some of this in your life that can start, making that shift for you.
Seeing none, we'll just move it.
I see. Ruben, you got your hand up real quick. Go ahead.
Yes, as far as limiting beliefs, last night, I'm training this lady that is now a Shuffle user, and she received her tap card in the mail. Okay, so my journey essentially is to lift up her limiting beliefs because she doesn't really think that she's techie and everything. So I went step by step and bringing up her phone and showing her on her account to go ahead and put the URL in her area there, but she couldn't load the tap card. And every time then we went on the QR code and loaded up a whole bunch of instructions. So again, this is a brand new person that doesn't know anything. They get this beautiful thing in the mail. They go ahead and do this and they get all these instructions and they don't know what to do. And it was frustrating because at that moment in time, this was pretty late. I was running out of gas myself. I said, let's go ahead and reschedule a meeting today. And she said, that'd be fine. So all of a sudden, it came to my attention that our beautiful Kathy, our trainer, she has on YouTube right shuffle card to a tap card. And all of a sudden, I looked at that video, and all of a sudden, I became aware of a shortcut with the gear on the card that all of a sudden you tap. And then, so for her tonight, it's going to be a very simple process that I'll take her through that whole process to forget about all those directions, from the QR code, but get right into what she wants. She wants to be able to tap and see her card. And so, again, I think that'll help her limiting belief, build on her confidence to make her a little bit more, because ultimately she's going to have to take over her control of her business and the technology that we have.
Agree. And I know we're going to move on through the next topic, Guy. You've got a series of these, and the limiting of belief of I'm not worthy, I think corresponds as well, Ruben, to something that came up yesterday that you just addressed, which is I can't do it, right? I can't do it. Like, it's too hard. You know what I mean? And that was maybe her limiting belief. And we hear that a lot, especially in the world of technology, right? As a technology company providing solutions, that's some of the limiting beliefs we hear about. We hear about, I can't do it. I'm not worthy of leveraging this technology. I have to do it the old-fashioned way, or the way that it's always been done, because that other way might be too cumbersome, too hard. There's a learning curve. The reality is, we truly believe here at Elify, everybody is worthy and everybody is capable of learning how to do this stuff. And if you're willing to commit to a process, it's an inevitability that you will reach the result. So go ahead, Guy.
And I think that's just, understanding, empowering ourselves enough to know the process. Because yes, the process has changed from how to activate the card from when we first released it to we wanted to make it very simple. When you're on the app, yes, it is in the more section under the tap tools, and your cards will appear listed there for you to assign. It's also done on desktop. So when you're logged into your account and your info, your name in the upper right-hand corner, that drop down allows you to go to My Tap Tools, My Tap Tech, and it will list out the cards as well. It's very seamless to go in and push the pencil icon and edit. It will give you a path that you can select your cards and direct it right there, or type in a URL. So I think that's the empowering element that we wanted to make sure is a simplified process within the application. It's just knowing where those steps are and feeling comfortable to know. I was on with a gal the other day. She has 3 cards. She's like, I'll just do this later. When we were wrapping up the call, she's like, I'm going to get these set up this weekend. I said, well, here, you're logged in. Just push this button, push that button, and right there. And she goes, oh my goodness. You mean it was that simple? Yeah. It really is that simple. It's just directing the individuals in the right steps to make sure they know where to utilize that resource. So hopefully that'll help as well. On to our next one. It's possible for them, not for me. So this one might fall into that limiting belief. The limiting belief becomes or is ingrained in us because of, it's true, it's a low self-esteem. When we look at others that are performing better than we are, maybe in the workplace, maybe in opportunities, you think that they're smarter than you, or that they're luckier, or they have more resources. Your subconscious mind believes there's something about them that helps them succeed and not you. So how do you overcome these beliefs? We have to change our thinking. Instead of thinking, it's possible for them, not for me, We have to tell ourselves it's possible for them. It's possible for me too.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between you and them, other than the difference that you see in your mind, right? You've not reached where they are because you're letting your limiting belief hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we're also doing ourselves a disservice and to others by holding ourselves back.
Absolutely.
By not giving what we can offer. We have everything we need inside of us. We talk about this all the time. I have what I need within inside of me to get up every morning and get to work, or do my affirmations, take a cold shower. If I don't do it, it's a limitation that I put on myself because it's in my mind. The limiting belief you have is actually your ego, which your ego is designed to protect yourself from harm, because we don't know the unknown.
Yeah.
So instead, we should start asking ourselves, if they can, why can't I?
That's so true, Guy. The first thing it makes me think of is success leaves clues, right? We talk about this all the time. Not that they can and I can't. They can, and so can I. And what are they doing, and how can I apply some of that? And I think that's something a lot of people miss out on, right? We talked about a few different limiting beliefs yesterday, and they can, but I can't. Limiting belief, is either that fear of success or that fear of failure maybe coming in, right? And it was funny because those are the number one and number two, right? A fear of failure and a fear of success, and they're on both ends of the spectrum. And you see people succeeding, and you maybe want to be like that, but you say they can and I can't. And if I don't try, I don't have to experience that fear of success or fear of failure. I'm just gonna be where I'm at. Don't be like that, right?
Right. Exactly. If no one else has anything to add to that, we'll move to the next one, which is all opportunities are taken. And I think we try to reiterate this from the aspect of Elify as an opportunity, Elify as a network. Like, we truly are at ground floor based on the amount or the potential of business owners, business professionals, networkers, community, seeing the value of what this community can provide to them, being that bridge in a way to help them get information out about what they do, to be able to get information to other people and vice versa, get it back from them so I can start referring business. Doing what business truly was intended to do is work together. So all opportunities are taken.
Yeah.
When we feel the desire to create something and put it out there, it seems like everyone else is doing it, right? You might join an opportunity. Well, I got in late and everyone else is doing this. It's an opportunity for a reason.
Yeah.
It's because you see the benefit and the value of it, that there's a very high likelihood your sphere of influence will as well. You might feel like you don't, you wouldn't be able to earn a place for yourself because everyone else is doing it. If everyone else is doing the same thing, who will listen to me, right? Who will buy from me? So how do we overcome this type of limiting belief? You feel your field is saturated. And I think sometimes people feel that, I've talked to people about this opportunity and they've heard about it. Well, have they heard about it from you?
That's right.
Have they heard about it with your passions and what you're getting out of it? You have their attention. It's a general rule that what you think about all the time appears more to you in reality, right? I remember over a year ago, my wife and I were getting ready to trade one of our vehicles in for a new one, and we knew what we were going to get. And I remember driving down the road, and that was the only vehicle I would see, right? That was the only vehicle I would see. And a few weeks later, that's the vehicle we're in, because our constant attention was on that. It's like when you think about buying a book, or you see people mentioning a book everywhere, That's the book that comes to mind. That, I think technology listens to us.
Right.
Siri listens to us. Alexa listens to us. It happens to pop up in your feeds on social media. It's a little bit freaky, but you're putting it out there, and it starts appearing to you. Mm-hmm. How many times has this happened where you're thinking about like a specific place, or a post on an Instagram that somebody might have put? It's not a coincidence, but it's sort of the system in our brain that is going to start attracting us to that location. Maybe that's where I want to go on vacation, or maybe that's a restaurant we want to try this weekend. That's why we see opportunities and information appears to us in these paths, because we're focused on it and it's specific. Mm-hmm. When you're thinking about becoming you were going to school to be an engineer, a life coach. It can seem like everyone's sort of doing that. I mean, life coaches, teachers, trainers, it seems like it's being saturated. But then again, it's the fastest growing vertical in business right now. Right? There was an event hosted a few weeks ago that I had an opportunity to listen to, that they had brought in over 200,000 people into the life coach business. It's crazy, right? 200,000 people. Is it saturated? I don't think so, because there's 8 billion people in the world. Mm-hmm. So it's small fractions when you start thinking about things just a little bit different. Allow our brains to filter, to say, you know what, opportunities are out there.
They're everywhere.
Even if a lot of people are doing them. Mm-hmm. Right? So this space, this community, we believe is one of the first in the way that we're doing it. Yes, there's other communities that focus on certain elements, solely on networking, solely on products and services. But being where you can come in and participate and have group think, I think is something that might be so new to people that they don't even know that it's available to them. And the opportunity's here.
It surely is, Guy. And I think this is one of these things where within the Elify community, we truly have an abundance mentality. If you look around the virtual room here, we have people from all walks of life, a lot of diversity, working on all types of ventures as their primary focus. And we love that. As an entrepreneur myself, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I look around and all I see are opportunities. So sometimes our limiting belief is this belief of scarcity, when we really need to have a belief of abundance. And we are not competing against each other. We are working together. Again, Guy, that's what's so challenging. I almost don't have enough time in my life to pursue the opportunities that I see and I like. Think about that. They're all over the place. And Guy, finally, to your point, if you're in an opportunity where you feel like it's saturated, the reality is it is not, because you are the unique differentiator. And I want to highlight, before we move on to the next topic, when I was in graduate school getting my MBA, we did a Harvard case review where it talked about, you're going to open up a business, right? You're going to pursue a venture, an opportunity. And the scenario is, you're going to go to a college town, you're going to open up a restaurant. And you open up the yellow pages in that college town, or in this day and age, you open up Google Maps and you start seeing what types of restaurants are in this town. And you realize there are 10 pizza places and 0 Chinese food restaurants. And the question they pose is, what do you open? And our limiting belief of scarcity would direct us to say, oh, easy, you open up a Chinese food restaurant. But the reality is when there are 10 pizza places out there, there's an abundance of people eating pizza. And if you're going to go into business, you should open a pizza place because you can gain market share. So the first thing is, does a market exist? That's the biggest question we ask ourselves when we look at opportunities. And if you're looking at your opportunity and saying, yes, there is a market for this opportunity, you know what I mean? How big is that market and how are you going to acquire it? Those begin the next questions. It's not that limiting belief of scarcity of, yeah, but there are already 10 pizza places out there and they've got 100% of the pizza market right now. They've got 100% of the market till you show up and you start doing what you need to do and you leverage the right tools and the right process and the right system, and you offer your customers something that differentiates you because you are unique, and you grab market share. You know, there are plenty of examples of new businesses that came into old markets and took over the market share. So that's the type of mentality when we're talking about eliminating these negative or limiting beliefs, is we're analyzing that. We're saying, look, are you coming at this at a viewpoint of scarcity? Which a lot of us, I mean, I feel like sometimes that's the default. There's only so much to go around, guys, right? You know, but the reality is no, there's too much to go around if you're opening your eyes and looking around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the next item, I'm not ready because I need to fix blank. I think we all do that, right? In some area in our life, you know, I think sometimes people are looking for perfection or the perfect time to do things, when in fact, perfection should be the lowest denominator, because there's no such thing as perfect, right? The limiting belief that you're not ready now, but you'll be ready after, you know, maybe my house is built, or after I lose the weight, or after I earn X amount of dollars. Your mind gives you reasons to procrastinate because of fear. When you have to get out of the comfort zone, you go in a direction of your dreams, and then your ego appears. It gives you all the reasons you shouldn't do it, because chances are you might fail or you don't have the desired qualities. So if you're convinced that you have so much better of a chance to succeed once you change something about you, and the situation will change, it's not going to happen. There's never going to be the right time to do something. At any given point in anyone's life, you might have something going great, but you're facing other challenges in other areas. It's the way that life works, right? So if we're going to wait for something to be over, you're really just wasting time, which in turn is taking away from your life. So to start where you are, I know growing out of the comfort zone is uncomfortable. It's painful. You have to put yourself out there. Your ego will try to fight you and put you back in the safe zone. But we know better, right? We know there's no way around it. You have to go through it.
So true.
If you're not ready to take the pain, it means that you don't truly have the desire to do it. And if you do, you better go through the discomfort now rather than later, because our future self will thank us when you take those actions today, not tomorrow, not next week, because we always talk about it from a time, and we'll get into the next one is I don't have time. We don't know how much time. But if I went through that struggle of picking the phone up or going to the event today, the opportunity can be limitless to us, because the opportunity to be able to make those connections.
Why put off today what we can, do tomorrow, etc. You know what I mean? That's what we sort of say in our heads. Why do today what I can put off till tomorrow? Or it's got to be perfect, guy, to like what you're talking about. I've got a personal story. It jogged my mind. I want to share it. I'm celebrating a 10-year anniversary with my wife. For those of you who know, I'm 40 years old, got married when I was 30, probably still a little old to be at that point. And here's the reality. We had a mentor guy. I remember this clear as day. I was talking with him. I'm like, I'm really thinking about making this proposal, but we've started this company and we're working through all of this stuff and the timing just might not be right. And this mentor looked at me dead in the eyes, almost grabbed me and wanted to shake me. And he said, ER, in life, the timing is never right. The timing is never perfect. Guys, do you ever feel like opportunities present themselves at the worst times? You know what I mean? That's the reality of it. Right now is not the right time. You know what I mean? Now is the best time. Because, Guy, to your point, we have this limited, scarce resource of time. And if we aren't capitalizing on it, if we're just putting it off till everything, the stars have got to be in alignment, guys, right? I've got to do. No, how many times when you have stepped forward into something, okay? And we've all done this in our own lives. When you have stepped forward to something, but you didn't have all the answers, you just started going. Guess what? You figured it out along the way. And then when you did, you looked back, because hindsight's 2020, and you said, oh, I can't believe I made such a mountain out of that molehill. Like, why do we do that to ourselves? That's these limiting beliefs. So, I think that's a huge one, where we have this scarcity of time, which is truly right. And we need to get started immediately. And the reality is we're going to figure it out along the way. We don't have to have every single answer. Now, Jeff, I see your hand up. Go ahead, my friend. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Yeah, good stuff. And congratulations. Treat her like the Queen of Norway, right?
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm back in the camper for 4 days by myself, giving me some time to do this, and then I'll be running over working on the house. And a good example was last night. I just did sort of a walk through to see the progress, right? And again, I always want to apply this to what you guys. It's not about me. But when you're looking at the progress of any project that you're doing, whether it's just building a shuffle card or getting ready to run some sort of campaign for your company or whatever, the thing is, I got upstairs and I had put 2 good coats of poly on stain. Well, all the experts say you got to put like 50 coats or 3 to 4. And I'm like, damn, this looks really good. And it's hard as a rock. And I'm selling this place. If they want 7 coats of poly, they can put 7 coats of poly on. Jeff is freaking done with that. So I think that goes right along with what you guys are point. Do we just keep editing and editing? And I'm the worst at that, because I will play with words and keep switching. I'm like, no, it actually sounded pretty good, or this thing. So what I did today, just for fun, I actually got interrupted. I was like, okay, I got 30 minutes before the call. I'm going to create something for the group on Friday that, everybody's talking about landing pages or different things, and I don't want to steer the topic. So you guys are welcome to click on it, or if you want me to do a quick share. I didn't sort of like really fine tune it the way I would have liked to, but you know what? I said, good enough. Yeah. All I'm trying to do is give an idea, a sample, a template, do whatever colors, do whatever images. There's 1,000 ways to make the thing look to be yours. I just grabbed something. I said, hey, this is kind of cool. Let me throw it together, throw it into the group. I still would have a little more work to do on it. But the point is it's designed to give value. And so if you're in Elify, instead of pitching and selling, which we all know we don't want to be that guy or that girl. So what can you do in your skill level? Again, don't be intimidated by, what ER can do, or Guy can do, or, Ruben or whatever. Say, how can I give value? I've built a couple cards, maybe I only started a month ago, but I got one that's pretty decent and I could share it with somebody. And then you give the value of that rather than pitching somebody on, hey, I got something for you. And the finger isn't like this. It's like, I did a training. I put together a 12-minute video if I sent you a free invitation and there's, even if I'm going to offer a free software, because, you get the free card, so I can throw so if you guys haven't clicked the link yet, it's up to you guys. If you want me to just give a quick demo of just kind of the thought process, I quickly built 3 blocks in Canva, downloaded them in, dropped them in the card, and hopefully you guys get value, because Friday is all about bringing value. And, 90% of it obviously comes from the guys, but it's always fun to sort of be a bringer and not be a taker. And
I love it.
I think at this point in my life anyway, it's about
I think let's save it for Tuesday's training. We can go through it, bring it up. If you didn't or aren't on this live, that link is in the chat. I've got it up right here. I'm looking at it. Aesthetically pleasing, great layout. Guys, this is what we want to be creating. But to Jeff's point, you can sit there and just beat on something over and over and over again. And this is something I've done myself in the past, guys, a limiting belief as a perfectionist, right? I mean, Guy knows it. I see him sitting there laughing because I do it all the time and I still do it to this day. I have to consciously say, and this is the mantra, guys, this is the word, the phrase, you might want to write this down. Done is better than perfect, right? Have you ever heard the saying, like, any decision is better than no decision at all, even if it's the wrong decision? Why? Because then we can learn from it, adjust, course correct. And to what Jeff is saying, we can iterate on these things. In fact, we want to get something out there because we want to create a feedback loop where we can measure what's coming in. This is why companies will split test stuff when they put it out there, get it in front of their audience, gain that feedback, and continue to iterate on it and dial it in over time. If we wait till we feel like it's perfect, guess what? Your idea of perfect may not be your market's idea of perfect. Have you ever thought about that? You might create something that is perfect in your eyes, and when you put it out there, the market just doesn't get it. So get something out there to the market and then start dialing it in based on that response. So Jeff, I would love to spend some time on Tuesday where we do our Tech Talk Tuesday at 2 p.m., right, with Kathy, and maybe bring in and go through some of this stuff where we can do an in-depth training on this. Also, I'd welcome an opportunity for Jeff to even hold or host a training session where we could schedule a time and the group can jump on and ask some of those types of questions and really get into the meat of it that I know we wouldn't be able to with just an ancillary view or overview of it on today's call. But if you did check that out, save that card. If you're on Shuffle, you can save it to your card index. It's a great opportunity, and Jeff, great job, great imagery, great all of those elements. I'd love to talk through each of those elements, but I think that's the biggest point. Done is better than perfect, guys. Get out there, start moving forward, start making progress, and you course correct along the way.
Along with that, a funny thing that I have noticed is sometimes when you're trying to create that perfection, that card that's says everything. A lot of times what you're trying to say it's not construed correctly to the individuals. So I've actually seen it in person where someone delivered a card, the recipient's looking at it and it's like, oh, that's cool. And it's like, the person that sent it said, hold please, adjusted, said, can you refresh that? They refresh it and they're like, whoa, now that speaks to me. That's something that, how did you do that? Because this is more information, or that's more capability that I'm looking for. So just as another idea, when thinking about creating stuff and sharing and bringing people into the fold, that you have that capability in your hands. Moving to our next item, I don't have time. I think this speaks to, I'm speaking for myself. It speaks to me. It speaks to so many people. I don't have time. There's so many items on our bucket list, right? It seemed like you will never get all those done because of maybe you have commitments to other things. You just don't have time right now. The limiting belief, I don't have time, restricts us from trying new things or truly wanting to do other things. But if we desire to start a hobby or a side hustle, maybe it's exercise or meditation or adjusting something. A lot of people identify that it doesn't fit. I don't have time to do it right now. But there are people out there that are accomplishing everything that they want in their day We see people who have day jobs and they're running their kids around successfully, and they're running an online business successfully that they're doing in their spare time.
Yeah.
Because they've dedicated that spare time. They've prioritized it.
That's right.
Even if it's just by working an hour, a half hour a day, but it's prioritized.
Yeah.
So we need to stop telling ourselves or anyone else that we don't have time.
Yeah.
If you can't identify the priorities in your life, or if you can identify the priorities in your life, you'll make time for it in your day, no matter what. You don't need to spend hours and hours. We talk about that all the time within our community. You don't need to spend hours and hours a day doing this. But if you can spend even a half hour or an hour consistently, you will move closer to your goal. I guarantee you will move closer to your goal. And if you have time to jump on social media, I guarantee you have time for your priorities as well. There's a reason why, I believe it's on Sundays, Apple will deliver to you your screen time. And you can look to see, if you're 3 hours plus on your phone, where that time has been spent.
Yeah.
Right? The reason we don't get enough time is really because the modern world that we're in, there's more distractions now more than ever. Like our phones are constantly pinging. We have a fear that if we don't check it right now, we're going to miss out on something. I'll tell you what, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like the hot social platforms, what I think they are perfect demonstrations of a fake life. It's so true, right? You can put a filter on and make yourself look totally different. You can make yourself look perfect. Is that reality? It also makes us lose focus on what we're trying to do in our daily lives. So we set our priority. It involves identifying and scheduling the most important tasks that you need to do each day, right? It's not time management. It's prioritizing your time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things that I've learned over time is also managing your energy. You can have all the time in the world, but if you don't have the energy, nothing will get done. You need to have the proper amount of sleep. You need to have the proper amount of exercise and a healthy diet. But energy, right? A couple of weeks ago, we did the exercise where we stood up and we were in the power position and we were breathing in. Someday I'll get my stand-up desk back out. Because what I've also learned over time is when you're sitting down, you take away half of your energy. That's why usually when I'm on a phone call, I'm standing up, I'm walking around, I'm pacing. Like I am full energy. I'm not cut off at the waist. I'm giving everything for it. I try to extrude all the energy that I can when I'm sitting down at the desk and doing Zooms, but I'm making sure I'm going into whatever I go into, whether that's an internal meeting, a Zoom call, a Zoom with an individual, that I am managing my energy. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, when you're managing your energy, you definitely need to make sure you get your proper sleep because you're drained. Yeah. So just wanted to point that out there, get that out there, and also just developing a laser sharp focus, right? We've got an endless list of things we have to get done. We're not going to get them all done today. We're not going to get them all done this week. We're not going to get them all done this month. But when we get a laser sharp focus on what we do, on what needs to be done, because I prioritize them in the steps that they need to get done, I'm going to make the progress forward And then I'm going to find out, heck, I've got all the time in the world, that I am so laser focused. My energy is here. I have my priority set in time in things I need to get done, that I don't have time is no longer an issue.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Guy, this is, I love it. I mean, even what Tuesday's saying, so powerful. And I mean, this cannot be overstated, everybody, right? We have to get out of our minds that we don't have time and get into our minds that time is finite. Time is of the essence. Like, we have to be laser focused, like what Guy's talking about, because the clock is ticking down, and we can't put our finger on the hand and stop it. Okay. True. You cannot do everything, guys. You cannot do everything. But Guy, to your point, if you want something, or if you raise the priority of those things you need to get done, you will find time, or you will make time. You know, my wife, this is so interesting, gets up at 4:30 in the morning most days, right? I just can't do it some days, right? But she's up, she's cranking her workout. Sometimes she's getting some other work done, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm amazed at how much I get done. And it actually frees me up where I have time to work on other things. And Guy, that's, I think what you're talking about is, if you're efficient with your time, if you're laser focused with your time, if you prioritize your time, you can actually start to free up some time. And I think also that's something that technology can help us do. I know there are a lot of people who do things in certain ways that aren't as efficient as they could be if they're leveraging technology. And tools like Shuffle and Tap are going to help you do that, help you save time and get that type of stuff done. But prioritizing our time and making that list of what are the important things right now for you, you know, is being on social media the most important thing right now? Is watching or binge watching that series on Netflix the most important thing right now? You know, if you're saying yes, absolutely, and that's what I'm going to dedicate my time, understand what other items you're sacrificing on, and make that list and prioritize that list. This is why we are so adamant about having that Monday sprint planning call each and every week. It's because of how important time is and how we use our time. Because guys, the reality is, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? That's the old saying. And that is specifically true with time. And since we don't know how much we have, we better not waste it. And I don't want you to look back and say, I wasted time doing this, or I wasted time doing that. To Guy's point, I want to make a conscious decision. There's a reason why I chose to spend my time today on this call with you. And there's a reason you chose to spend your time on this call today with us. And I hope that you're getting value out of this and what you're hearing on this call, because our goal is to make sure that you're applying the information that collectively we're discussing here. So Guy, go ahead. Thanks for letting me chime in.
Absolutely. And then the last one, and maybe we'll do another one just depending on time, if we want to get into that, is what if I fail? Right? What if I fail? It's a huge limiting belief. It's that fear. It's the false emotions acting real. I think about self-doubt it's nipped so many dreams in the bud of anyone that has fear. It's normal to have self-doubt about like going into a new venture or never doing something before. But the only way to be successful is to go ahead and acknowledge that there's fear, right? The fear of, what if it doesn't work out? That's something that can plague you before you ever make any critical decision in your life. What if it doesn't work out? Well, you just put the brakes on. You might as well have thrown the emergency brake on and not know how to turn it off. How do you overcome fear? One trick is when it comes to facing fear is to know that you're feeling it and that you acknowledge it. And then ask yourself this one question. What would happen if I don't go ahead with this now? I think that's something that has driven me forever. Because then the visuals start passing in your mind, and you see your future self. Yeah. You know, you see yourself in a better life, or what you're striving towards. You can see yourself getting unstuck. But if you say, what if I don't go ahead now, you might see yourself, you know, if I don't do this now, in 5 years, where am I going to be? Right? Personally, I can't bear it. So I better go ahead, acknowledge the fear, and see myself through it. At least I'm not going to regret this for not trying. I won't ever wonder what if, right? I think that comes down to, we've probably all heard stories or people mention talking about loved ones on a deathbed and having regrets. Like those what ifs. What if I would have done this? You know, one that hit home for me a few months ago was listening to an individual tell the story about his grandfather saying, I wish I would have slept less. I wish I wouldn't have taken those naps, because that time I could have done this. I have the same fear of failure when we started this. You know, we're wondering all the time, what will people think about Elify? But we went ahead anyway. Yeah. You know, we feel proud of what we have. We feel proud that we've got a community, and we hope the community is just as empowered and proud to know that this community is designed to empower each and every one of you, to help you along the way.
We love it.
And we love you. And what other people may be outside saying, whatever they say, we're okay with it. So one thing I've also done is I've eliminated the word fear from my dictionary, because there's no failures, or I've eliminated failure. There's no failures. There's only lessons. Lessons are what works, or what doesn't work, right? It's not I failed. I stumbled, but I moved forward. I learned from this. If something doesn't work, great. I love it. Now try something different. Pivot, make an adjustment, right? If we've bombed a project, great. We learned. We know how to implement differently, because we tried and we put the effort into it. It shows that there's strength, that there's love in our life, that we're moving forward. If we don't love ourselves enough, we won't try to achieve anything in life. Mm-hmm. We should love ourselves enough to take that step, to say, hey, I'm going to learn. I'm going to have a lesson. And the lesson is, I'm doing it right, or I'm doing it wrong, and I'm just going to pivot. The small bump that's in my path, I'm going to recorrect. Failures don't define us. They just teach us the direction that we're working towards to do better. So that's what I have with fear of failure.
I love it, Guy. I love it. I mean, I think all of us have had that thought of what if I'm not successful? What if I fail at this? And Guy, to your point, it's like, well, but what if you succeed? What if you ask yourself that question? What does life look like if you actually succeed? You know, what does that feel like? right? When we start to think about that, did you know a smile comes across your face when you start to have that thought? Like, what if I'm successful at this? What does my life look like? You know, is it an improvement of where I'm at right now? Right? Fear guy, you always say it, false evidence appearing as real. I think this is so important, you know, and there is no failure. I've learned that my whole life because everything I've ever tried and worked at, 99% of the time I failed at the first attempt. You know, Guy, your wife was gracious enough to give me a book one day on grit, right? I think if the only people who fail are the people who give up and quit. Think about that, right? Everything else can be accomplished if you just continue at it, you know? And there are lots of ways to go through the process. And maybe that's part of those lessons learned in the previous failure. You know, okay, that didn't work. What can I try next? That didn't work. What can I try next? And Guy, as we wrap up this conversation, it reminds me about the 3 beliefs that we must have, because we've been talking about limiting beliefs this whole call, to call out what we all may be encountering. But you've talked about these 3 beliefs that we all must have. And the reality is we have to believe that the treasure is out there, right? We have to believe that we can be successful. We have to believe that we are capable. Guys, and every one of you is capable. We are capable of finding that treasure, of accomplishing that success. Okay? And we have to be willing to believe that it's worth it, right? That the juice is worth the squeeze, as they say, right? We have to be willing to believe that. So that's the ask for you guys. You know, what does success look like for you? And do you believe it's out there? Do you believe that you can accomplish it, right? And do you believe that it's worth it? And the story that it reminds me of with that fear of failure guy is the story that those beliefs came out of when you first told it, right? The treasure hunter. He says, I believe this Spanish galleon has sunk off the coast in this general location 100 years ago, and it has, you know, $1 billion worth of gold on it. Why? Because all of the directions and signs are pointing to it. You have to have faith, right? And belief that that treasure exists. And so he says, I think I can find it. I can put together the clues. I can follow the map. I can implement the process or the plan. And you do, right? But you don't find it immediately. And the reality was that this individual spent 16 years of their life searching for this treasure. But then they found it. They found it, and it was one of the most largest discovery of gold, right? Of sunken treasure that this individual found, something like $500 million in gold. Guys, if you knew that that treasure existed, would you put in 16 years to get it? Think about that. Would it be worth it? I'm sure in hindsight, you know, on year 15, you're pulling out your hair. You're going, why am I doing this? Why, oh, why? I'm afraid of failure. And then you put in that next step and you reach the summit and you get there and you realize that it was all worth it. And this is the reality of the journey of life. Guys, it's worth it. It's worth it. We want you to change your limiting beliefs to be those empowering beliefs. We want us to work towards our individual goals because we are all unique and working on something that we all are passionate about. And we as a community want to help and support each other. I mean, you can see on this call, how much time did we spend talking about the technology specifically? You know what I mean? Training on it, telling you what it can do for you. Little to none. Why? Because it's not just about having the right tools. It's about having the right knowledge and skills to apply those tools so that we can be successful on the paths that we're on. Yep. So I hope everybody got something out of this today, Guy. I know I'm going to pass it over to you to close this out, but I just want to say, I want to thank you guys for your time. I say this all the time because I know how finite of a resource it is. I know how important it is to use it wisely. And I hope you got something out of this. Even if there's a small little nugget, I want you to turn around today and share that nugget with somebody else, because we want to crush everybody's limiting beliefs. That's why we spent time talking about that today. And you can join us in that mission, right? You can join us in being part of the Elify community, not just in sharing the tools. We didn't even talk about the affiliate program, guys, right? Sharing the tools and getting paid to share, but really sharing the knowledge and the skills and inviting other people to become part of this community and part of this movement. So with that being said, Guy, I'm going to throw it over to you unless there are any other questions, comments, topics, wins. And I know, guys, there's a lot of celebrations to have. I want to call out Tuesday, a great celebration of the experiences that you experienced and shared. And, hopefully in the future, I want you to keep sharing those. These are stories that empower us all because we know that that's what we're collectively working on. And we want to bring more people into the fold, right? Have them join the flock and spread the word. And get it out there so that this movement can carry on until it's a worldwide movement, right? Where everybody is successful in that abundance mentality with whatever success means to you. So, Guy, before we jump over to you, Jay, I saw that hand pop up. Thanks for joining the conversation, my friend. Go ahead.
Just a quick one. Scott put out a message out there. I hope you guys catch it and follow up with him. I sent him a message, but just to let you know. Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks again for a good day.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining. And I'll answer that here in this wrap up. I mentioned at the very beginning the fun acronym, Free Unstressed Network. That's what we get to do here 5 days a week. That's what ER and I love about this is there's an opportunity. We're not only talking about the technology, we're talking about a community where if there's other people out there, I guarantee there are other people out there looking for the chance to be looking for something like this. Maybe they just need a little push, a little shove, a little help with taking their step forward, and understanding that this platform also can help them do that. And we get into those with our Tech Tuesday trainings. We're encouraging. It's not a mandate. I guess it would be a mandate if you're an affiliate, because we would encourage you to continue to bring people into the fold, right? We're an unstressed network. When I think about fun, I think about what can be fun with this application is seeing people networking and sharing what they've created on the Elify platform through Shuffle, and sharing that in a multitude of ways. And then it really gets fun when you start helping other people in their business and referring them business and them referring you business, and continually bringing people into the fold, and knowing that this community will inevitably be huge. And it's going to start somewhere, to the point of the opportunity saturated. Not so, right? It is not so. We love what we do here. We love the opportunity to be a think tank community, to be an inspiration, to not say you get one mastermind a year at $5,000. No, you get it every day of the work week by being a member. And that's all it is. To the point on inviting people in, it's inviting them to the community.
That's pretty much it.
And allowing them to see that there's technology that will help them in the course of their ventures. Right. I was on a call the other day with an individual who's highly networked and was talking about how it can be utilized in their network and the individuals there. But he stopped me and said, I don't know if anyone's told you guys this, but at your entry point and at your monthly subscription and your potential earnings, I've never seen anything like this, because I can take this to other networks. And if those networks don't have products or services or opportunities, they have one with Elify, and they can make a living or just by being a part of the network and inviting other people to the network. How do you do that? How do you earn? It's by activating your affiliate status.
Yeah.
It's by sharing someone the URLs or your cards with your links for them to get signed up. One of the easiest ones that I always tell people are either elifyshuffle.com/your invite code or elifyshuffle.com/affiliate your invite code. That affiliate one will reduce the steps. They'll get signed up. They'll be in the fold. They'll be part of the network. They'll also activate their affiliate status through the process. So right away, they can say, this is a community. This is a fun, unstressed network that I'm going to be a part of, that I know 600 other people that need to be invited. You know, we are actually in the background working on refining some of these things, and we're excited on how this will work in the future on inviting. But when someone activates their affiliate status, they're going to get charged $1 one time. Our lawyers made us do that for compliance aspects. It's not that we're charging your card. It's actually from your first earning, we reduce that $1. So it's not really a cost to you. And then it's about sharing those two URLs. It's about sharing your card with your link and making sure as an affiliate, hey, I can give you a discount. If you want to bypass the discount, you can get it at the full $30, but I'm going to give you this for $20 or for $10 for the time being. You know, speaking of the $10, we've got, it's the 19th. We've got till the 31st of that $10 offering. I believe everyone that's here today has that ability for the next, 12 days at $10.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're going to continue it or if we're going to do it again this year. If we do, it might be like a week offering.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that are on the fence that need to come in and have some fun, I would be inviting and saying this community is pretty awesome. We're going to toot our own horn. It's a pretty awesome community. It's fun sitting here chatting on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays now, Thursdays, and Fridays. Just about business, about concepts, about state of mind, and then the technology. The technology is that bridge. The technology is the crutch that will allow us to reach our goals and our dreams. So with that, we'll wrap it up. We are wrapping up Friday with the Founders. Monday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we will be on for our sprint planning. Tuesday, Tech Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central with Kathy. I believe she's had some great Wednesday trainings as well. She's debating if she's going to do some more late night Wednesday ones that extend on a little bit more. Wednesdays, ER and I are part of this influencer group. If you haven't had an opportunity, it's a closed private group within Facebook. Go join it, because then you'll get the notifications when we go live. It's not a Zoom like this. It's just a Zoom where there's 3 of us talking, and you get an opportunity to write comments in, invite new people in. What we love about our community is they're already brought into the fold from the aspect of knowing what Elify is. This new influencer group is just getting exposed to it. So we get to use you as champions to say, welcome, it's fun, and enjoy these and come to more. Every Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, we get into our mastermind. I know ER had a great one yesterday with some great testimonials. Even though he might have had his video or his volume on mute for the first 4 minutes and 39 seconds. So hopefully that is trimmed now for everyone on replay over in YouTube, and starts from that point on. And then we wrap it up again here Friday with the Founders. And these are, you know, some of our most fun times throughout the week. We get amped up for having a communication whether if it's a group of 3 or a group of 12 or people rewatching after. We're just excited about having a community that we're all striving and reaching for the exact same goal, not only of success, but I think something we always pulled from a mentor of ours is having some significance, leaving a legacy. I think that's one of the biggest goals that I have in my life for success, is leaving a legacy. And if it's a legacy for my life or my family, or if it's something that can be created and built for the world to be able to reach success, that's why we're here. That's why we created this. That's why we enjoy this community. So with that, everyone have a great Friday afternoon. Have a great weekend. Will skill refill, and we will see you Monday morning. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody. Take